In this section of Wholesaling University, we're going to talk about building your cash buyers list and how to do it most effectively. Now, there are a ton of people that will tell you, put a property under contract, throw it online, throw it on Craigslist, throw it on Facebook, put it on Zillow, and the investors will just line up. And then you'll have your investors list. And I'm going to tell you why that's a bad strategy. To market somebody else's property in that fashion, to list it on websites and to do all those things, you need to be a licensed real estate agent or a licensed broker. And if you're not one of those two things, don't do it that way because it's against the law. You might get away with it for a while and everything might be peachy. And then one day somebody is going to say, hey, are you a real estate agent? Most likely it's going to be a real estate agent that asks you that. And you're going to say, no, I'm a wholesaler, I'm an investor. And they're going to report you to the state. And then you're going to have a big mess on your hands. So you don't want to advertise your properties in that way. Excuse me. If you have a cash buyers list already made up and you get a property under contract and you know what buyers are buying what, you're just going to send them the property, you're going to email it to them, and that property is never going to see the light of day, right? You're going to just do the deal and never put it out there. That's the way to do it. All right, so in addition to being illegal, and you shouldn't do it that way, let's talk about a couple other reasons why you should have your cash buyers list first. And another good example I can give you of something that can go wrong is putting it on Craigslist or putting it on Zillow and then having the owner of the property see the ad. Or somebody the owner knows see the ad and go, hey, isn't this your property? Because they're going to get angry. They're going to say, hey, I thought you were buying this property and now you're got it online. What the F is going on? And they're going to cancel that deal. All right. And it just will turn into a big mess. And I've seen it happen. So you don't want to do it that way. Lastly, the clock is ticking when you sign that contract. Typically on a real estate contract, you say, I'm going to close this property in 30 days. All right, so you do that and you say 30 days, we're going to go to title company, we're going to close. And then you've got to go out and start, looking for buyers, determining if they're really a buyer, determining if they're just, a tire kicker or they're hoping to be an investor, all that. And you don't have time to mess with that because as soon as you sign that contract, starting the next day or maybe the day after, that owner is going to start calling you and say, hey, can we close next Monday? Hey, how's it going? Hey, what's going on? And you're going to be in a panic state, after a few days because you don't know what to tell them. You start avoiding the calls. Then they're going to be like, hey, what's going on with this guy? And it's just going to turn into a big mess. You want to get paid. You want to get a check. And wholesaling is supposed to be fast and quick, and you're supposed to contract a property, assign it, get paid, and go on to the next one. So you don't have time for any of that mess. You just want a good cash buyers list. So let's talk about effective ways to build your cash buyers list. And my number one, without a doubt, preferred way is just to get the cash buyer data feed that's on the website. This eliminates all the hassle of trying to determine if they're a real cash buyer, knowing if they've actually ever bought anything, if they've got money and all that. The cash buyer data feed is just all the information from the county websites, all the sales data, and it's just a collection of everybody or every company that's bought property and paid cash for it. So you know who's buying, how many houses they're buying, where they're buying, what they're paying, and all that information. And, you sign up for it and in a second you have it. And, it makes every other way kind of, less effective or a lot less effective. So favorite way, cash buyer data feed. Now, there's a cost to it. I think right now it's like $49 a month, and you have to get the first 3 months. You have to pay the first 3 months. So you're talking about, I think, like $149 to get signed up. Some people don't have that money, and I get that. I don't like spending money on things I don't have to. There's other ways to do it. And let's talk about other ways to build your list. Okay, my next favorite way to build a list is going to real estate investor meetings. All right. And I'm sure if you live in a decent sized town, there's at least one or probably several good RIA meetings that you can go to. You go there and, they'll let everybody have an opportunity to get up and talk in front of everybody. And I know that can be nerve-wracking. Oh, I don't want to get up in front of people. But just get up there and just say, hey, I'm a new wholesaler in the area. I'm out looking for properties and I'm out hustling. I would love to connect with any buyers or other wholesalers here at the meeting. So when you get a chance during the meeting, I'm sitting right over there. Please come over and introduce yourself. Maybe give me your business card, write your name down on a legal pad for me. Tell me what you're looking for and maybe we can work together. Boom, that's it. And build your list that way. Go to, if the meeting's every month or every couple weeks or whatever, or there's several meetings, go to them and start doing that. Get to know investors. And other than the gas to get back and forth to the meeting, it's a cheap, effective way to build relationships with investors that are really buying or, flippers or landlords or whatever. Okay, so do that. Go to RIA meetings. Even if you don't have to build your cash buyers list, go to RIA meetings because it's good to network. Okay. All right. The next thing is getting on social media and networking that way. I don't really like this method. I don't think people should, be on Facebook when they're trying to be a real estate investor, but you can do it this way. Facebook groups, LinkedIn, Bigger Pockets, Connected Investor. Sign up to the groups and see who are the investors in your area. Some are going to be wholesalers, some are going to be investors. Network with them, talk with them. Get it offline, all right? Say you meet somebody and they're an investor and they're buying a lot of houses. Go meet with them. Don't just, message them all the time. Say, hey, let me drive over to your office. I'll bring us a cup of coffee and we'll, chat about what you're buying or, get them on the phone or whatever. But, do it that way. It's good to network and not just, hang out on the phone or on your computer all day long. So social media works, but try some other methods too. Property management companies. A lot of investors don't want to rent their property themselves. They rather hire a company to do it. So property management companies will manage 100, a couple hundred, 500, 1,000, whatever properties for all these investors. And you should make a list of all the property management companies in your area. Now, when you go to a property management company, don't just, expect to walk in and say, hey, give me a list of all your investors. I want to reach out to them, because they're not going to do it. They're going to, hold that information close to their chest. But a lot of times the guy or lady that owns a property management company will be an investor themselves. Or if you build a good relationship with them, if you bring a property to them and say, hey, I've got this under contract, do you know anybody would be interested? They'll send it out to all their investors or call investors that they know are looking for those kind of things. So building relationships with property managers is a great way to build your cash buyer list. So add that to your repertoire and do that. Craigslist ghost ads. This is putting a fake property on Craigslist and saying, investor special, needs repair, cash sale only, all the keywords that the investor would look for. It works, but I don't like it because it's kind of, deceptive. You don't really have a property to sell. And two, you're weeding out, people that, maybe aren't investors. They want to be an investor, but they don't really have the money for it, or they want to buy a property and fix it up for them and their wife or, whatever. So not my favorite method. It works, but just plan on putting some time into it and having to, ask a lot of questions and determine if they're really an investor or not. A lot of new wholesalers will get a call, somebody say, oh yeah, I'm an investor. They get all excited. They got somebody for their list, but they never take the time to ask questions and kind of, play detective a little bit and find out if they're really an investor or not. So, Craigslist ghost ads, they'll work, but they're time consuming. Also, bandit signs around town that say the same thing. bandit signs like typically the We Buy Houses signs. You can do it and put on there house for sale, investor special, needs repair, cash only, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, whatever, and hang them up around town. And do the same thing as the Craigslist ghost ads. You're going to get calls, you're going to have to weed through them and do, build your list that way. It's time consuming, but it can be done that way if you want to put the time and effort into it. Getting on Craigslist or Zillow, calling for rent ads. All those people that have for rent ads are either investors themselves or property managers. So it's a good way to do it. You can call if you don't have any money, for marketing another way. You can call and just say, hey, I saw this ad. Are you looking for other properties in the area? I'm a wholesaler. I go out and find properties for investors. What are you looking for? Blah, blah. And just build a rapport with them and see if they're buying other properties. Again, if you don't have money for the data feed or any other kind of marketing, this is a good way to do it. It can get you some results. The We Buy Houses signs, the bandit signs that you see around town on the phone poles and everything, call those. Now, there's a good chance there are going to be other wholesalers. Sometimes there'll be investors looking for properties. But, just call and ask them. Say, hey, saw your sign. I just wanted to reach out to you. I'm a wholesaler. Are you a wholesaler? Are you an investor? And just talk to them and say, I want to, if it's another wholesaler, say, hey, you want to meet up for, a hamburger sometime and, we just talk about the business or whatever. It's a great way to make contacts, okay? Sometimes it'll be an investor. You can say, hey, great, what are you looking for, and put them on your list. So calling signs will work. And like the RIA meetings or anything else, anytime you get a chance to network with other people in the business, it's a good thing because it will bring you opportunities that you don't realize will come your way. A lot of times, if you've got a good relationship with an investor or another wholesaler, they might have a property they call you with and say, hey, I'm your investor, and but I run across a property that I don't want. Maybe somebody else that wants it. So build those relationships. It's a good thing. Lastly, having a website for cash investors just to collect their data. If the website would say something like, hey, I've got properties, or I find properties 30 to 50% off market values, put your name and your information in if you're interested in it. Investor Carrot's got some great, websites to build your cash buyers list. But if you've got some money to spend, it's not a bad idea to have one. You can put it on your marketing. You can, over time, you can just build your list up that way. So to recap, cash buyer data feed, my favorite way. All these, a lot of other things on here, doing the bandit signs around town and all that, those are time consuming and it takes time to do that. Buying bandit signs costs money. If you order 100 of them, it's going to cost you $130 by the time they're shipped. Cash buyer data feed eliminates all that and you can just have your data. But if you don't have a budget, all these other things work. Just make sure that you take your time. Don't get too excited because somebody called you, and take time and just ask them, are you a cash buyer? Where are you buying? What are you looking for? If they're very generic and they just say, oh, just send me anything, they're a wholesaler. But if they say, oh, I only buy in this city and I buy this and I buy that, then they're an investor, and that's a good way to weed them out. So hope this helps. This is how you build a cash buyers list. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can go to the Wholesalers Toolbox, hop into the Wholesaling University and check all this out. And that's it on this video. I'll talk to you soon.